Hello, and welcome back to episode 46 of Caged Full Throttle. I am your stand-in host for the evening, Jordan Hollins, replacing Ed Fahey, who, well, to be frank, none of us know where he is, but he's vanished. Hopefully he'll be back for the next podcast, but joining me tonight is a very exciting lineup. First of all, a very good evening to my usual partner in crime, Mr. James Keane.
Hello, Jordan. It's great to be back. I said, we don't know where Ed is. We probably think he's in Ireland. That's about as specific we can be. But very glad to be back. And thank you for taking over the technical reins while I was away for the last podcast. It was an excellent show and really well done to you guys. And I'm excited to be back.
You're very, very welcome, James. And also with us is, well, now, not our newest member of the team, but he's still as fantastic as always. It's Mr. Dom Brock.
You're too kind, always, Jordan. Yeah, got a few things to talk about this week, and hopefully, we'll make it another good podcast, especially with the other member who we haven't announced yet.
Well, certainly. And now, this member I'm about to introduce may sound a bit like Kermit the Frog tonight, but that's not because that's how he normally sounds. It's because he's suffering with man flu. I'm, of course, talking about Mr. Matt Josie. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Jordan, and good evening to everybody else listening tonight. It's great to finally be back on the Full Throttle podcast. And yes, I am slightly ill, so you might hear a few coughs during the broadcast, but yeah, it's great to be back.
Great to be back indeed. Obviously, we've had a couple of weeks off. So, I think to kick off this evening's show, we will look back on the Aldershot Banger World Series, a very wet affair, but I believe it will be Dom to take us through that one.
Well, yeah, that was an interesting day for me. So this was my first ever time to Aldershot, and it was certainly a baptism of fire in my world. It was a good meeting. We got a good turnout of cars. I'm not actually sure of the official number, but it was, I think, somewhere in the region of last year. What impressed me was the variety of cars on display, actually. I think this is really a sign of the Entertainers League working and building on last year, because there was all kinds of things out there. Really nice Jaguar from Patch Beasley. There was a few others out there. There was some used Yanks. There was a very nice Scorpio Hearse from Viking. There was all kinds of stuff out there. And it was set to be a good day until the weather came in. Storm Kira definitely ruined quite a lot of people's days, it must be said. Certainly soaked me to the bone. All 3 or 4 layers that I had on were completely drenched. In the first race, I was in and around. I was running around the pits, so I didn't get a huge amount of oversight of what happened on that one. Unfortunately, I'm sure James may be able to expand. He was, of course, trackside, but. I saw a few wrecked cars coming out, but it wasn't. From what I could tell, it was quite roddy most of the time. Second heat proved to be a little bit better, but again, it's a case of seeing what you could through the spray. There was so much going on, and it was very difficult to really pick out any highlight moments when you're trying to dodge the spray or try to see through it, as most people were. The new shake-up with the BWS round this year is that we have the showdown first before, and then we have the wild card final as the last race of the day. We after the first 2 races, we went into that, I believe. I may be mistaken. I think there might have been 3 races actually at the start. But
Dom, there was 3. It was 3. It was 3. It was 3. Then 3 showdown, then final.
Yeah, I think there was around 20 cars in each heat, and then we had the showdown. I forget to mention my favourite car of the day. It was a shame it didn't actually do a huge amount, but it was Sonic's P5. That was the other one that I was trying to dredge from my memory. Again, that will definitely earn some real entertainers points. There was some good racing out there in the showdown. Taylor Sauter was the standout performer for me, and was actually the standout performer throughout the day. He was going in on everything and everyone. Sort of no prejudices there. He was just causing chaos where he could. Most of his action was down on the final 2 turns on 3 and 4, although I was, from watching some other videos from the back straight perspective, he was also causing chaos elsewhere. We had some really good racing in the final. We had the main contenders all in play. We had just trying to think again from memory. I think it was Lee Kingsnorth was leading at some point, and then we had I think Nathan Roberts was up there as well. But the amongst the chaos, I think we were from the time, because I was in the race control at this point when we were watching the final, and we were tracing the leader, and the leader was then got lost in a big pile up somewhere on the back straight, and out of everything, out of it all, 617 Jack Overy took the lead, and in the chaos he managed to break through and win the race again, winning the exact same BWS round that he did last year. Very good meeting for him, always a top performer. I've mentioned quite a few other performers that stood out for me on that day. There was some off-track politics, which we'll come to later, I think is the best way I can say it. But it was certainly a meeting that won't be forgotten in a hurry. And it was a solid start to the BWS for this year. Hopefully that it's going to build from here, and come Ipswich, we'll be seeing more cars, more top tin, and more drivers going for big crashes and great races.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Dom. It certainly looked like a good meeting from what I've seen, despite the difficult conditions, as you mentioned. And James, you were actually marshalling that day. I just wondered if you could tell us a little bit about what it was like to marshal in such difficult conditions.
3 weeks later, Jordan, I'm not 100% sure my overalls are still dry. It was probably one of the worst conditions I've had marshalling. I was actually on the pit bend as well, which, if you know the way Aldershot is, turns 3 and 4 tend to be more banked and have slightly more cover from the sound breaker. But the pit bend is the way the wind was blowing and the rain was coming down all day. I love marshalling the pit bend at Aldershot. It's one of the most action-packed places you can marshal, and it didn't disappoint. Maxwell putting in a really good jacking in on Cornish on that corner during the wildcard race was a definite highlight. In terms of the winners during the races, it's sort of you could almost probably guess some of them in terms of, even if you weren't told. I mean, Joey winning Heat 1. I mean, when was the last time you went to Aldershot where Joey didn't win? Heat 2 was won by Boxer, who drove a great race, and then Heat 3 won by Nemesis, who looked very fast. The showdown was won by Lee Kingsnorth, and just to slightly correct you there, Don, each heat actually had a maximum amount of cars of 35. So it was so it was supposed to be more. So no, it's fine. But so what happened is, I think it was about 32, then 33, and then whatever was left in Heat 3. And only 6 cars finished Heat 3, so it showed how the action definitely ramped up pretty quickly. The showdown was excellent. It definitely worked as a principle. Last year's BWS, the Entertainers League meant the showdown mattered a bit more. There was more people there and more drivers coming out for it. But having the showdown as the all-comers race before the wild card definitely worked. I think it was 50-something national bangers out on Aldershot, which isn't the biggest of tracks. Definitely provided some entertainment. And the wild card was excellent as well. Obviously, Jack Overy taking the win. One of the best drivers of all time, obviously, and he looked pretty quick, but it was probably about 3/4 of a lap behind Lee for most of the race, and then Lee got spun, and then Jack Overy took control. Did have one of the Bears taking a huge hit out of the back straight. I think it was Spokes over on the back straight at the end, which brought the Reds out not long after the checkers. To make sure he was okay. He was okay. Hit his head off the A-pillar after taking a big one. Fair play to all the fans that turned out, as well as the drivers. Fair play to the guys who came over from Ireland for the meeting as well. I mean, for one of the worst pieces of weather we've had in this country for a long time, the turnout was fantastic. I know being the opening of the season at Aldershot and being the first BWS round obviously helps, but it was a good, we just had to walk away almost laughing at the end of the day because it, I couldn't actually wave my red flag. I had to rock it up and down because if I tried to wave it, I would have been flown over the catch fence. But it was a very good day all around. We don't have an ice cream man anymore, but I doubt he would have sold much. And
Just to add,
Not unless he sold brollies.
sorry. Yeah, the brolly van should have come.
Yeah.
just to add on that though, or what James was saying, I think it is a testament to the sport that this meeting went ahead in the way it did, and how well it actually came out the other side. A lot of people put some negativity out there before the meeting because of the weather, but actually, although most people went home completely soaked, I'd say laughing because of how sort of how silly the idea of the meeting being run was. We actually did all enjoy ourselves, and it was a good day's racing. I say all the big names out there, all bringing out the crowds, the devoted fans, and long may it continue for the rest of the BWS throughout this season.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a really good day, and it was good to see a lot of the racing done in the right spirit as well. There was a lot of good stuff going on the track. Adam was going out there. I think he's in his world final card, and Maxwell was putting in some good hits. It was definitely a very interesting day. I suppose the controversial bit is we're going to come on to the next agenda item. So, Jordan, would you like to introduce that? I suppose.
Yeah, well, I was actually going to lead on to that. Yeah, it's it wouldn't be a Banger World Series round without a little bit of controversy, something that really opens up the discussion on social media platforms and over Banger Chat, obviously. It seems this one was probably the most Marmite discussion, I'd say. A lot of people were either for this driver or against him. For those of you that don't know, soon after the meeting, 3-time Speedworth World Champion 331 boxer Jason Jackson announced his retirement from the sport. And before I open it up to the guys, I was just going to say, I grew up watching boxer over arena, and the man's skill, commitment, driving ability, and his attitude towards the sport in general was absolutely fantastic. Yes, he may have done some silly things in his time, but we all do silly things. We're humans. We learn from that. It was quite a sad day, to be honest, when he announced it, and I think the sport felt shocked actually for a couple of days after. But Matt, I'm going to come to you on this one first. What did you think of it all?
I was a bit shocked by the sudden announcement because it did come out the blue. Obviously, there was a lot of comments online regarding it, thinking maybe it was like a knee-jerk reaction to the ban following the first round of the BWS at Aldershot. But yeah, obviously, he's Marmite. A lot of people love him. A lot of people hate him. But he is what it is, and you will give him credit for being one of the best drivers out there who can drive a car, better than a lot of drivers out there. So no matter what you think of him, he is a massive loss to the sport of how he can drive a car. I mean, the way he can drive a banger is incredible. So it is definitely a big loss. Yeah,
definitely. Dom, do you have anything to add on this?
Well, he is the Mr. Marmite. He's the only person I've ever known to turn up at the World Final, go around on his parade laugh, and have bog roll thrown at him. He is. You love him or you hate him. It's a shame he's gone because he attracted so many fans, and there was always all eyes were on him at World Final night, regardless if you love him or hate him. Some people are watching him to see when he gets taken out. Some people are watching him because they're looking to see if he'll win. He will be missed from the sport, and it is a shame that some silly actions and this ban have subsequently caused this retirement. But it is just something that is going to have to be. Yeah, it's something that we're going to have to really address with the sport at the moment. There's change going on, and we need to make sure that everyone is safe. And I don't really want to elaborate too much. I didn't actually see any of the incidents myself, but it's in the end, they've made their minds up, and so has he. It's just disappointing, especially as I spoke with him on that day, and he was looking to move into 2-litre hot rods as well. He was just a real man of the sport, and it's a shame he's gone for that reason.
Yeah, no, exactly that. And I know, as you've rightly pointed out there, Dom, a lot of changes are coming into the sport this year. A lot more health and safety and things like that. And things will have to be taken a lot more seriously. Again, I'm not going to mention about anything that's occurred. But James, just lastly, do you have anything to add on this?
Well, I think you've said quite a lot. Is like you said, you started off saying he's a Marmite figure. People love him or hate him. I think a lot of people that hate him probably haven't really ever spoke to him, because it's quite surprising when you do, if you have that opinion, because he is a very down to earth guy. He's quite easy to talk to. He does a lot for the sport that a lot of people don't know. It's a difficult one. If infield hitting is something that has to be stamped out, because, like you've said, we're not going to go into details about what's going on legislation-wise, but that Aldershot Raceway, for those that have been there, will know that the safety area for marshals is very difficult, and because it's a flat concrete oval, there's no banking, the infield safety area doesn't have much protection apart from a bit of Armco. A lot of drivers decided to ignore that and race on the infield to get past. But if you're using that infield to go on oppo, put a hit, put someone on the thing, it's going to have to be dealt with. No one knows what was said in that letter apart from Jason and the steward on the day. But again, I mean, I really hope it's not the last time we see him on the ovals. He is, I said, love him or hate him, he will go down as one of the sport's all-time greats. And if it is his last time in a Bangor, I hope that we'll see him a lot more in the TDs. They said he was out in Mitch Shooter's car. He was absolutely flying by the end of it. Actually, from his heats, I think he ended up about 6th on the grid and pretty much held that position. Which I know he'd just done a bit of hot rod racing over in South Africa, but around Aldershot with a lot of drivers that know Aldershot and a hot rod really well, it's great. So I hope it's not the end of seeing him in the sport in Bangors. But then you got to look at the other way. That's quite a few bans in terms of percentage of races. So we'll see what happens. Like they said, it's a very contentious subject. We obviously here on the podcast have to be very even-handed, and I think we've summed that up pretty well there.
Yeah, certainly. And I know obviously James and Dom, you both mentioned about his 2-litre hot rod. He is actually booked in for the Ipswich practice night this Saturday. I don't know whether the ORCI ban means that he's also banned from the 2-litre hot rods, but I think I read on Facebook that he has got his own car.
Yeah, I'm not.
So it doesn't,
again, like
full time.
What's in that letter is between the ORCI, the promoters, and the steward, and we don't know what's on it. Even if it isn't full, well, it could be a full contact ORCI ban. We don't know. The stewards will know. It'll be on their booking lists. Yeah. If whatever the ban is will be upheld. So if a promoter's put him on the list, then they're not floating around the rules. It might even be raised under appeal. We don't know. It's none of our business, to be honest.
Yeah, no, exactly right. This is none of our business, and it must also be said that Boxer has had a go in hot rod classes before, as James rightly said.
Yeah, Lightning Rod raced the Lightning Rod World Championship, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
He has gone out to South Africa as well and won the Champion of Champions meeting out there.
Yeah.
He won the Lightning Rod European Championship at the Ipswich Speed Weekend a few years ago. He won the Lightning Rod British Championship in 2017 at Hednesford. And for those of you that, don't follow the hot rod classes as much, those are two very, very difficult tracks to get a hot rod around, especially when you consider how tight and competitive the lightning rods are. So, yeah, it'll be a big loss for the sport, but I think that kind of wraps up that whole little discussion. And now we move on to the back to basics. I know. We're going to get a lot of stick for this, but we like the back to basics here. And what better man to report on the back to basics than Mr. Matt Josie himself?
Yes, thank you, Jordan. So it was the first back to basic fixture of the new season at Aldershot, and I know a lot of people that have seen our posts on Facebook don't like us talking about or posting photos of the back to basics, but we don't care. We love them. They're great entertainment, and this was the case definitely last Sunday at Aldershot. We probably had around 90 cars on the day, roughly the amount that was booked in.
101. 101 turned up, Matt.
Yeah, 101 cars. Fantastic turnout. 6 more than the fully booked booking list. But some of the cars on the day, there was a pair of Peugeot 309s for the Parry brothers. That is 309. Chris Parry and 328 Mike Parry. Of course, you had your usual mix of KAs, Micras, Corsas, Fiestas, and whatever else. But there was some Peugeot 206s, a very nice, although it did upset quite a few people, a Mark IV Ford Escort for Chris Davis and 613, complete with a Ford RS bonnet, which upset quite a few people as well. We had 713 Lauren Nets out there in an Astra, I think. But I think the biggest shock of the day was 522 Tim James the Weevil in a Smart 4.4, which I don't know if it is the first to be raced, but either way, it's ugly as hell. And but it lasted most of the day. Didn't get any particular proper banger damage apart from bits falling off, which is what you expect from a car like that. So it was strange, but it was great to see. But yeah, it's a great variety of cars once again. The action was exactly how every Aldershot B2B meeting is. The heats were as they were. I think there were like 30 odd car heats. So it was nudge and spin, of course, being back to basics, but you had a lot of accidents happen on the track, which, of course, all the drivers were all okay. But the final and the DD were by far the highlights of the day, like they always are at the track for the back to basics. A fantastic wrecking train, I think, was in the final, and some big hits during the end of day destruction derby. But in terms of the heats, we had 5 heats overall. So the first 3 were all split, and then they cut them down to 2 heats for heats 4 and 5. 494 Jack Harris won heat number 1. Heat number 2 went to number 70 Stephen Hart. Heat number 3 41 Dale Fairless. Heat number 4 Mr Colgate himself 760 Joe Reynolds. Heat 5 was taken by 03 Scott Russell. The final was won by 311 Danny Allen, and the destruction derby went to 452 Harry Ailes. So James and Jordan, you were there. I want to get your thoughts quickly. But first of all, we're going to turn to Jordan, because you were there actually trialling to be a speed of commentator. How did that go?
Yeah, it went really well, actually. Thanks, Matt. For those of you unaware or didn't see on our Facebook page or on Matt's post on Facebook, I was there commentating on a few races in the middle of the meeting, just as a little trial run to see how I cope with doing the music and commentating on the other formulas like the historic stock cars and the ninja carts. And again, what an experience. It was very, very cool to be up there with Graham Woodward, who not only has had a great career with Speedworth, but has also done a lot of amazing stuff with cricket as well. He was the stadium announcer for the Cricket World Cup final last summer when England won the Cricket World Cup. So it was just really great to learn off him. Obviously, I'm still young. I still make mistakes. But it's how you learn from them. And that was really cool for me to learn off him and develop my skills. On the racing side of things, well, I think you said it yourself, Laters. it was a great day. Typical of what Back to Basics are all about. Heats were quite quiet, but then from Heat 5 onwards, the action was absolutely amazing. I think that final was probably one of the best races I've seen in a long time. Massive pile up on turn 1. So yeah, it was just great. And I think, well, my driver, Rob, the meeting, just for his never say die attitude and constantly waving people in, was 817 Toby Hodgkinson. Battered Ford Fiesta, kept waving people in, kept getting T-boned. I think Scott Russell went in on him, amongst many other drivers. And I know, James, as you said earlier, you were actually standing on the first
Yeah,
two
he might
turns.
have been your
when
favourite
Maxi
driver
came
of the
out-
day. He's my least favourite driver of the day because he bloody made me work hard after that restart because he took a lot of hits, and every time I went round, got the thumbs up, checked he was okay, went back round to my position. Oh, he's backed out again. He's took another T-bone. I suppose when we got him out of the car at the end of the race. He was absolutely buzzing. He did a really good day. I just had to shake his hand and say, well done, mate. You've been absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
Well, just quickly, it's worth mentioning the junior bangers as well. I actually sat down and watched most of their races throughout the day. They were highly entertaining. Sadly, I did miss their probably most entertaining race of the day, which was the grand final. And there was also some smart cars as well. 301 Botfield had a fresh Nissan Micra, which is really nice. I mean, they're all Micras, aren't they? Mark 1 wheels.
Yeah, of course. Jack's no stranger to a bit of contact round Aldershot, of course. Jack.
Yeah, definitely. But a huge grid, though. I think there was 35 cars of the junior bangers, and they were brilliant as well.
35 all day. So the amount of Back to Basics were fantastic. We had to. The first 3 races were very enjoyable, but we had to add extra race 5. For the all-comers races. I think it was just a great day. It's exactly what Back to Basics are about. Everyone saved their cars a little bit and got progressively harder through the day until the point they were just trying to wreck them in the final in the DD. Lauren did a classic trick of parking up and trying to back in the middle of a corner and took a big one as well. So I think a lot of the drivers that make Aldershot B2B what it is were there. They said, Tim, I spent most of the day picking up plastic off the track from bits that had fallen off his car, but most of his car stayed. The actual chassis of his car stayed pretty much straight. I don't know how much he enjoyed it to go out in them again, but he definitely had a good day out there. They said Toby had a great day. Yeah, it was just really good around, really.
Speaking of Back to Basics, I just want to say congratulations to this. We're going a bit off topic now to another race meeting, which is upcoming at Mildenhall Stadium at the end of June. It's the Joe's Weekender, and the Saturday is for the Back to Basics. And there's a big list already booked in for that meeting. But I just want to say congratulations to Mark Jones, who actually done us a beauty on our Facebook page. I ended up sharing a photo of a stretch Beetle limo that was meant to be going to something. It turns out it was a prank all along. So yeah, that was fun. So thank you for that. But yeah, that's going to be a great weekender as well, I'm sure, Back to Basics racing. But I think maybe we should move on now because we're going to get a lot of hate in a minute from the Back to Basic haters, Jordan.
It's already started.
Yeah, definitely.
I can feel it.
I can hear them typing now, or they're breathing down our necks. But we will move on to, well, more ORCI National Banger news now. And it is the micro banger car ruling. And I believe it is the fact that from this season, the Vauxhall Corsa C is banned in the micro national bangers. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but
from what I can see, it will now be restricted to 1200cc engine size. So I think they were allowing larger sized Corsa Cs. I think it's the Corsa D is the one that's been outlawed, as well as Micra K12. Just having a quick read over the RCI page.
Yep. So that's the Bubble Micra, the bigger new Corsa, and the Corsa before that has been restricted. That's right, Dom.
Well, does anyone have any opinions on this, or is this going to be just a quick news segment?
No, I think there's two sides to this, George. I think on one hand, the cars that you would associate with being micro cars in the past, things like Corsas, Fiestas, Micras, have been progressively getting bigger on the road. The cars that you see today that you used to think, oh, were little runarounds, are now. The new Fiesta is the size of the first Focus, for example. Everything's got bigger. And if you don't put the limit on it now, then you're going to turn and say, well, I've got a Corsa. Everyone else is racing a Corsa. Yeah, but your Corsa's almost twice the size and getting wider. However, at the same time, bringing this ruling in at this time is difficult because a lot of drivers have Corsa kit. They've not had the times to run cars down. They've got... it's just... I think it's a mixture between it's the right thing to do, but there's not a lot of warning.
Yeah, and I think that is the thing that has annoyed a few drivers. I'm sure we'll move on to this discussion again later on in the podcast, maybe. But a lot of decisions are being made late on because of the changing in rules, the loss of tracks over the winter. It is a hard time for promoters at the moment, and they are giving their all for the good of the sport. Trust me. And trust all of us here at Caged on that one. But yeah, hopefully it won't affect the numbers too much because the micro national bangers are probably one of the most consistent disciplines. Especially
since the loss of Wimbledon and the meetings being moved between. A lot of the meetings were moved to Eastbourne, and there's a couple at Aldershot. They definitely have been. I think it's just easy to get hold of the cars, and they are very entertaining because with big numbers, for your casual observer that's on holiday in Eastbourne comes down, seeing a micro roll over is pretty entertaining. You get a DD out of them because no one minds wrecking their micro. They've just been really good since the last micro madness at Wimbledon where the numbers picked up massively. They've just sort of carried on since then.
That must be said. Sorry, I was going to say, it must be said that they're actually really popular with the independent tracks as well. I think Swaffham last season was one of the most consistent turnouts. You'd always see a decent amount of micros there. And I know that the Stansted Raceway, they had the team meeting, Stansted against Cornwall, and that was all micros, and that was a really good day. And micros, I think, are the way to go at the moment. They are definitely the most popular and the easiest way into the sport. This ruling, I can understand why it would upset some people, but it's there for a reason. It's the reason it's the same class that junior bangers run. It's the reason that it's the same class that junior micro stock cars run. Basically, it's a reason. They're easy to get hold of. They're easy to get the parts for. They're easy to put together, and they are built relatively strong for what you're doing with them.
Yeah. Well, I think that concludes that little discussion point. And, now we move to a little track in Oxfordshire that also hosts the National Bangers Caged Open. The third annual one of that will be coming up in December of this year. But this Sunday, it's another National Banger meeting. It is the A1 Scrap Metal Open, replacing the 3 litre meeting that used to take place at the track. This one is being promoted by National Banger star 622 Gary Webb, and it's got a very impressive booking list. Matt, do you want to take us through that?
Yeah, of course I will. So it's the inaugural running of the A1 Group Open for unlimited national bangers and 2 litre national bangers, and already there's over 100 cars set to go to the Oxfordshire Raceway this coming Sunday. There is, as of tonight, 66 unlimited bangers. Some big names in there. You've got the Posh Wash, 28 Dan Kaplan. What other names are on there? You've got 199 Boner, Jamie Wyatt. Tom Waller's out there. 239 Nemesis is out there. Keith Reynolds is back to go to the replacement for his former meeting. There's also Steve Nelson, who won the Unlimited Entertainers Award at the Caged Open last December. James Dodge 702 is coming out as well. So is 560 Gary Reynolds. Mr. Colgate, Joey Reynolds is out there as well, so great to see him there. We've got the Filmers in there, so 884 Tom Filmer is booked in. 714 No Show from DWO, he's coming back out as well after coming out at the Caged Open. 921 Kieran Wilson of the Welsh lot, he is coming down for that one as well. So that's pretty much the unlimited list. 66 booked in. On the day, you'd probably get around that because, of course, Gary Webb has rounded up a lot of the national banger drivers for this one. So I'm sure there would be a bare minimum of 55 on the day. Obviously, I can't say for certain, but there's going to be a great turnout for unlimiteds, that's for sure. And then you've got to look at the unders class, which is 2 litres, which will include 4 Monderos. 47 booked in for that class. And whilst a lot of people, I'm sure, will be going for the unlimiteds, the 2 litres certainly won't disappoint. They're always entertaining at this meeting. Team TLC are out there, including 44 Ricky Pullen. Rob Bugler, 262 is out there. He's a top entertainer to look out for on the day. 209 from up the north is Scott Waggy Wagstuff. So it's great to see him out there. Aaron Charles is a number 7, is a Stanley regular. He's booked in for the day. 449 Billy Crittenden. 295 Ashley Wallace, who is a regular at the Speedworth Domestic Bangers. 261 Dom Davis. That's not a name you see often down at Stan Lake. Who else is on there? Mr. Colgate 760 is doing both classes. Jack Filmer 883 is booked in for the unders, as opposed to the unlimited class for that day. And apart from that, it's all your usual suspects that you'd probably get at Stan Lake, really. But they're always great to see the 2 litre bangers. Of course, there's plenty of them around the 2020 fixtures at Stan Lake, the 2 litres. So yeah, that's the first of the A1 Open, which I'll be going to. I'll be on the bill taking photos. So yeah, it should be a great day.
Yeah, it certainly should. Start time is around 11:30 in the morning. I believe all your normal Stan Lake support formulas are there as well. Obviously, you've got
the apart from the juniors. If anyone's listening, yes, the juniors have been cancelled to help with obviously pit space for the day with the large entry of national bangers.
Okay, but obviously the juniors will be back later on in the year at Stan Lake, so go on their Facebook page and have a look to see when the juniors run in the future. But I think we'll move on now to, well, this is going to be a more reminiscing kind of discussion. It's going to be one probably filled with a lot of sadness, especially for our resident marshal, Mr. James Keane. I mentioned earlier that it's been a very long winter for promoters up and down the country with threats of tracks closing, constant ongoing issues. Will we race here? Will we not? Should we put other fixtures on there in case we can't race there? Everything basically. And then you had all the stuff going on with health and safety and whatnot. But of course, I'm talking about the loss of the Birmingham Wills Raceway. And, well, it's a track that I visited quite a few times. And it was a brilliant track, great facility. Yes, it was maybe run down a little bit, but you've always guaranteed some brilliant racing there from whatever formulas you were watching, whether it was the Brisker Formula One stock cars, national hot rods, or indeed the national bangers. Its wide open bends made it capable of shoving out cars wide, but also straights that were long enough but yet short enough so the top boys didn't pull away. It was just a really cool track. And James, I know that's the one track that, well, kickstarted your love obsession with this sport.
It was indeed, Jordan, and it's a bit easier this time because I've already gone through the 7 stages of grief, and when it was reprieved, I didn't completely expect it to be plain sailing from there. Like you said, it's the place that it's my first track. They say everyone remembers their first. I remember my first track, and it's where I got the flag, stood behind, dangled on the starters rostrum, and that's when basically led to me being a marshal today. It's a great track, like you said. It suits stock formulas fantastically. It's the reason it always has such a good brisker turnout. It's the reason that saloon stock cars around there are amazing. We were there, weren't we, Jordan, when we saw them supporting the 2 litre World Final. It's a fantastic track.
We were.
Absolutely fantastic track. It has, not only for bangers, it was due to host around 5 I-Factor meetings. And I'm sure everyone has seen today that the loss of I-Factor meetings has meant the loss of formula under the speedway. I think I raced Mildenhall banner. Hopefully those formulas will find a place, but at the end of the day, you can't. Those formulas are basically meant to be run under the I-Factor banner, and without the track that runs I-Factor, they can't run. It's a huge loss. Now, going behind, obviously, what was offered by Birmingham Council, from the information we know, I've got no special information here, I just know what's public. The track was offered, well, the whole bit was offered a 1-year lease with another lease afterwards. The track wouldn't be available till March, April. So you're then having to put your formulas there and then not knowing, will it be available? Will everything be fixed? Will it be okay? Can we run? And I've seen some comments again against social media. Love to have a go at the boogeyman when they can, but at the end of the day, Dean's got to look at this and say, well, if I can't guarantee it, then I'm not going to run it. I've got to make a decision now. I might get 1 or 2 more years out of it, or I can make a decision now and say I've got to sort my fixture list out. And that's where we are. It's sad, and I hope in some way maybe it will come back. Maybe this will let the council say here's a 5-year lease or something. But the facilities at Birmingham have been getting progressively worse because you can't invest in it when you're operating such a short-term lease. It's been operated under the threat of HS2 for a while. We'll have to see what happens in the future, but I've resigned myself to the fact that Birmingham Wheels has probably gone now, and it is sad. It's like Jordan and I was with you at the very last checkered flag of Arena Essex, and so I know how you feel about this, and I'm in the same place with the loss of Birmingham Wheels.
Yeah, certainly. I know that you said the line there. Everybody remembers their first track, and as you said, that was exactly the same with me at Arena Essex, and now you're in the same predicament as well. But moving on to more cheery matters, the Speedworth domestic bangers, the under 1600cc bangers, saw their season kick off this past Saturday at the Arlington Stadium Eastbourne Flair annual Champion of Champions meeting, and it was that man again. Some say his teeth are brighter than the future of Caged. It is indeed Mr. Colgate, Joey Reynolds. He took the Champion of Champions title, and I believe, Dom, you were there, and you were actually presenting for Speedworth TV.
Yeah, I was. That was a good day, and my first trip to Eastbourne as well. And it was definitely a really nice circuit. First of all, I'm looking forward to going back there at some point this year. But that evening was a very busy one. Again, there was a lot of cars booked in. I think there was around 75 of the rookies booked in that evening. Reigning champion of champion Dale Fellis, who Matt mentioned earlier from the Aldershot meeting, he was there. I gave him a quick interview, and we did have some in-car footage for him, which you should see come up at some point if you're a subscriber to the Speedworth TV channel. But yeah, he was there with, I think, his used World Final car. We had Ash Dash Wallace was there, the world champion. We had other big names like Jack Bunyan and obviously the two Reynolds, Keith and Joey. Spoke with a few other people there. That it was a really good atmosphere, and it was a good evening's racing. We had the first heat, the first qualifier. That was again pretty racy affair. We had, I think it was the top 3 qualifying from each. So it made. It filled out the world, not the world final. Sorry, it filled out the Champion of Champions grid quite nicely. Joey Reynolds coming through the last chance qualifiers, and then put himself around mid pack for the main race. He was on form and on fire all evening. He was absolutely on it, and Dale Fairless starting on pole sadly dropped back. Wasn't to be his night. Ash Dash Wallace was up there. Joey in close pursuit. Lee Kingsnorth was up there as well. He's obviously now doing nationals as well, but he's still a really capable driver when it comes to the rookie formula. As the race went on, the Champion of Champions race, it was very much looking like it was going to be Ash Dash that was going to do it. But Joey made some attacks, and then sadly Ash Dash got taken out by a car reversing in front of him. I think he retired from there. It just didn't go his way. Joey coming through from the last chance qualifier to win the big race. That was such a great event and a great win for him. I said before the meeting to him that I think he'll win, and he didn't think he would, but I was proved correct, thankfully. And I did rub it in his face afterwards as well. I was right on that front. He nearly won the last race of the evening as well, but sadly he was penalised and dropped 2 places, I believe, and finished 3rd. It was a hat trick of wins for him, and I was thinking, he's now everyone in the bank community knows him, and he's adding another title to his name. He is just becoming one of the all-time greats, and it's only going to be so long until a title follows that. Obviously, this race booking him in the Rookie World Final later this year, he'll be a hot contender for that, and we'll have to see whether the same happens with the Nationals as well.
Yeah, well, it's certainly interesting. Obviously, that's already one top driver on the World Final grid, along with, obviously, I know, Dom, you mentioned them there in your report, 295 Ashley Wallace, who won the World Final for the second time in his career last November at the Foxhall Heath Stadium, Ipswich. That, of course, takes place again in November, as Dom rightly said. But now, we would like to introduce you to our new member of the team. And, well, we've been looking for someone to join the team for a while. The male testosterone at Caged has proven quite difficult to deal with over the years. And I'm very, very glad to say we finally have a female. We're moving with the times. It's the 21st century. Please welcome Miss Stephanie Cox.
Hi, guys.
Hi there, Steph. Can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Oh, excellent. We're better at technology than we thought. We think we're good at this, but it never works, hence why we always start 10 minutes late.
Yeah.
So how are you doing? Has it been? Have you been start of the season? You must have been busy. Have you? How's your season started off so far?
So it's my first meeting this Sunday. I'm going to be at Swaffham. So, yeah,
right. So your season hasn't quite started yet. You must.
Not yet.
You must be itching to start then.
Yeah, so because it's been so long, I was worried I won't know what to do.
So I'm going to ask you some questions. I've asked pretty much everyone who's come on to the quiz this. So whether they've become a member of Caged, or we've asked Keithy this when we've had Yvonne, we've had Mr. Grumpy on, we've had Cecil's been on a couple of times. So we're going to go with the standard questions. They might sound a bit boring questions, but I do think they're good. They do really get to the heart of how you got involved. But how did you first get involved in oval motorsport?
Basically, I've been into cars my whole life with my dad. My dad loved cars, and then my partner started racing, and then I've been hooked ever since, really. So Stansted haven't been able to get rid of me.
So for those that are listening that may not have met you before, who's your partner and what does you race? Oh, sorry, Steph, you've gone very quiet there. Can anyone else?
No.
Oh, sorry.
Jason Cox. Oh,
there we go. You're back now. So I think we are.
I'm back.
Yep, all back. Yep. Okay.
Do I need to repeat that?
No, it's fine. No, we got there. So obviously, we brought you on the team because you're such an excellent photographer. Some of the photos you put up already show how you managed to get managed to get the right photo at the right time. But how did you get into photography? Was it from motorsport, or was it just bringing the two together?
It's just bringing the two together. So I've always loved photography, especially since my kids were born. Love getting photos of my kids and my dog. And then, yeah, I just started taking the camera racing. And it was the junior bangers, actually, that caught my eye and really got me kind of wanting to do more. Because I don't know if you've ever seen the junior bangers at Stansted. There's quite a lot of action in them.
Well, we've seen that a lot. The juniors quite often make the adults put them to shame in terms of action. The next question sounds a bit general, but we always ask it. In terms of, compared to other sports, what is it for you that makes oval racing and bangers so special?
For me, especially with Stansted, it's kind of like the family atmosphere. Everyone helps each other. And
Shut up, Jordan's clock.
Yeah, Jordan's clock. It's not a cage podcast without Jordan's clock.
I thought something had gone wrong then.
It's all right, and your time is up. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to another episode of Caged Full Throttle.
Yeah,
we'll see you next time.
Yeah, Steph, you don't know this. We actually broadcast directly from Big Ben. So now that's done. So, sorry about Jordan's clock interrupting you there. Do you have a favourite moment that you've seen at the tracks in the time you've been there?
Purple Dark Car Day was brilliant. I mean, not only just raising the money that we did, but also with the amount of effort that went into getting that day going, it was amazing.
And the next one's always a controversial question. Do you have a favourite banger driver of all time?
We don't. I think Roy Rawlins is a name that I remember a lot from my childhood, going to different tracks and that. But I met him, that was at Purple Car Day actually, and he was a lovely guy, so I'm going to go with him.
I think pretty much everyone who's met Roy will say that. He's such a great person to see around, no matter where you saw him. Like, I think the first time I met him was in the upstairs arena bar. It's such a great guy to see around. And the last question, becoming part of Caged, how did that come about? And what can we expect to see from you in the upcoming years?
I think it came about from one of you messaging me, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Matt. He's our recruitment specialist.
My fault.
Yeah. When you're fed up of us, you have to blame Matt. That's what I always do.
Basically, it gets to the point he gets bored of us, and then he goes and gets someone in better than us. So that's how you've got him.
Yeah, I'm like a better version of Jose Mourinho. I'm always scouting around, seeing what talent I can get.
It's that way you always put me in defence when we play football.
And no matter how much you ask, Matt, we're not calling you the special one.
Oh, that's a shame.
It depends what sort of special you're on about.
So it makes it sound bad to me.
Matt, you are very special to us, but that doesn't make you the special.
Thank you. Oh.
Okay, so we're about to come on to the return of the mouldy old quiz, like on Top Gear when they bring back the old reasonably priced car for Formula One drivers. When we get a new member of Cage, they face the mouldy old quiz. The rules are pretty simple. The rules are pretty simple. You get 10 questions. There is one question that you get 2 points for, so it's 9 in total. You get... The thing is... Actually, this is a good point, Jordan. We used to give banger drivers 90 seconds because they weren't doing it, but I did it under 60. But I'm sure we did it 90 for Rob and Jay. So I think we should go back to 90. Keep it at 90.
I'll be honest, mate. It's been so long since we've done the quiz, I've completely forgotten the rules.
Well, we can't do it every week. We can't keep adding people to the team every week. Although Matt is trying that at the moment.
I would say Matt is trying to ever so slowly replace us. So,
It's all right.
As long as
You'll get your P45 soon.
It's all right. As long as no one's better than IT than me, I'll get.
There'll be a new person presenting the podcast next time.
It's all right. As long as they're not better at IT than me, I'll still be producer. It'll be okay. Okay, so you get one lifeline, and you use that lifeline by saying the following. You say thumbs down, thumbs down. Jordan, you got the clock ready?
Yeah,
So you
I
get
have indeed.
so you get 90 seconds. If you say thumbs down, Jordan will say red, 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 and stop the clock. I will give you a clue, and then you get a guess at that clue, and then we restart the clock. So it's 90 seconds in total. But as soon as you say thumbs down, we'll call red flags, and you'll get a clue, and then we'll restart afterwards. What will happen is that I'll start the rolling lap music. You won't get to hear it, unfortunately, due to technical limitations, but people at home will. And then as soon as I say green, 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 we will start the quiz, and Jordan will start the clock. Are the rules clear?
The reason that I've done a national diploma that was 100% coursework based at college. I'm terrible at quizzes.
So what you're saying is you'd like us to give you the questions, and you can submit a written answer after.
Yeah, 1,000 words. Due in on the 4th of April.
I'm the quiz master.
I thought I was meant to be the uni student of Caged doing essays.
Yeah, you are, Jordan. Actually, yeah. Go to bed. You've got school in the morning.
Yeah, I can't actually.
Don't worry too much, Steph, because I'm the quiz master. Yeah, I am bottom of the table with 3 because I forgot that I could pass a question. You can pass as many questions as you like, and we'll come back to them at the end. But if you have a guess and guess it wrong, we can't come back to it after. So, There are 10 questions. We're about to go on the rolling lap. Are we clear?
Yep.
Okay. Right then. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Take them away, please. And we are green, green, green. Who was the last winner of the PRI World Final at Arena Essex?
Oh Lord, pass.
Who were the last 2 females, 1 point for each, to qualify for the Speedworth Unlimited World Final?
Pass.
Trojan are part of which new track association of independent tracks?
NSA?
Yeah, NSA, that's fine. What is the current team score for Civil War?
Oh, Lord,
okay. Who was the founder of Hensford Hills Raceway?
Pass.
What does a white flag with a red cross mean? Shown by the starter. You got a thumbs down. You can use a thumbs down.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. Jordan, red, red, red.
Red flag.
Okay. So we are red, red, red. So the clue is it's like a black flag, but it's not the driver's fault. So a white flag with a red cross. It's like a black flag, but it's not the driver's fault.
Something's wrong with the car. Like hanging off.
Correct. Technical disqualification. Correct. And we are green, green, green. What was the last year that Swaffham hosted the Icebreaker? Pass it. Wait. You want to pass it?
Yeah.
Okay. Which PRI legend took part in the ramp rollover at the Purple Car Day last year? Rye Rawlins, correct. Red. It's okay. Don't worry, you're not bottom. You're giant bottom with me, and given I'm the quizmaster, that's okay. So there was one question we didn't get to, and that would have been, if you would have got it, you would have beaten me. Who was the first winner of the Caged Unders Open?
Yeah, I would never have got that.
It's been mentioned on the podcast tonight. Anyone else want to jump in there?
Aaron Charles.
Yeah, Ario. Founder of Hensford Hills Raceway. Clue would have been Classic Hot Rod Trophy is named after him, in honour.
Oh, Bill someone.
Bill Morris, correct.
Bill Morris.
Who was the winner of the last PRI World Final at Arena?
Dean Goodall.
Yeah, the clue would have been member of TMT. And the last two female qualifiers for the Speedworth Unlimited World Final. The clue would
Sophie Facely and Holdsworth. Stacey Holdsworth.
Stacey Holdsworth.
Stacey
Yeah, and
yeah.
Sophie, that's correct. And the other question was, what's the current Civil War team score?
11-10.
11-10 to the north.
11-10 to the north. And when was the last year Swaffham hosted an icebreaker? And before they answer this, Steph, remember that they've all seen the answer to this because I didn't know either and had to ask.
I was going to say, I think Dom should take this one.
That's 2001. Very wet day that was.
So, Steph.
2007, so I was way off.
Oh. Well, thank you very much for coming on and doing the quiz. We pretty much throw you in at the deep end. As we were planning this, we pretty much said, oh, Steph, you're going to win on tomorrow. So we threw you in very much to the deep end. But you've been a great sport and we look forward to working with you over the upcoming years because you've started off amazingly. Your photography is excellent and you bring a perspective that we don't currently have with the tracks that you cover. So I for one, am very pleased that you've joined. Matt's recruitment policy appears to be pretty good. So thank you very much and thanks for getting involved and basically thank you for coming in tonight. So Jordan, Matt, anything else to add? Dom as well. Sorry, Dom. Forgot you were very quiet then. I forgot you were there.
No, other than fixtures to finish it off, I think we've covered everything. There's nothing else I could think of.
There's one. We need to go back to basics, guys.
One huge thing. Back to basics because apparently we don't.
Itching to get Matt's absolutely itching. He's been on at me all night to move on to this topic.
Well, we're going to annoy those B2B haters once again. But yeah, so we've got the third running of the National Banger Cage Open due at Stanley Arena in December. But we're going to do something a little bit different this year. Down at Ringwood Cheaters, not to be confused with Ringwood Raceway, run by Adam and Craig Robinson. But yes, the inaugural Caged Back to Basic Banger Open is taking place on Sunday, the 26th, I think it is, of July. Yep, at 12 noon. We've got currently a driver interest list going on. So it's like a booking list, but once the booking's officially open, you will then be sent a message to confirm your booking for the main list. We've got over 40 drivers currently on that list. So it's going to be a good day, hopefully. We do sadly clash with a few other fixtures, including a Back to Basics fixture at Aldershot. So yeah, if you're interested in racing, please message myself on Facebook or message the Caged Facebook page or email us or fax us, whatever. We don't have a fax, by the way. But yeah, so it's exactly the same as the National Banger Caged Open. So bookings are open 2 months before and list will be revealed a month before the meeting takes place. But this driver intention list is there purely to help the promoter deciding if we need how many support formers necessary. Obviously, if we had, I don't think it's going to happen, it'd be great, but if we magically had over 100 cars, and maybe it would become an all-banger feast. But that's why we're doing a list so early on. So we've got some top car awards and stuff like that for on the day. No entertainer awards because it's Back to Basics, so it's not meant to be like, full-on wrecking or anything like that. But we're going to have plenty of top paint awards and that kind of stuff. Plus, the winner of the Caged Open final will get a free sign writing job from Boogie Signs. That's kindly on offer from the promoters themselves. So thank you for that. But that's it, really. So we're looking forward to that on Sunday, the 26th of July.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, Sunday, 26th of July, Caged brings you Back to Basics at Ringwood Cheaters. And as Dom rightly said, just to fill you in on the upcoming fixtures over the next couple of weeks, what have we got coming up, Dom?
Well, it's got quite a wide variety, just having a look round. Obviously, I'll prioritise the soonest first. So I know that we have, obviously, the opening meeting for the new Stansted, not Stansted. Where am I going with this? New Swaffham promoters. They've got a 12 noon start for a meeting on the 1st. They're running all the usual Swaffham-based formulas as well as back to basics. We have on the same weekend, I know that Ringwood Raceway is running the under 1600 Ringwood Open. They've got all the relevant support formulas as well. Not sure on the timing when that starts. Their website sadly doesn't say, but that's.
I believe that'll be 6 p.m. as normal, probably for Ringwood.
Yeah, open practice night at Ipswich, but that is not really a meeting as such. That is just a day for people to practice. That's this coming weekend as well. And then I think where it really kicks off is the first week of March, where we have at Milton Hall on the Saturday the 7th at 5 p.m. we have the Unlimited Banger Supreme Championship. This was a great meeting last year. I highly recommend anyone in the area to go along to this one. I'll be there with the Speedworth TV crew again, and that should be a good meeting, especially if all the drivers who have qualified turn up. Again, can't go wrong with Unlimited Milton Hall, in my opinion. Elsewhere around the country, we have, I'll go West Country first. We've got United Downs Raceway at St Day. They've got their first meeting of the season with 2 litre old school bangers. We also have Barford, where they're carrying, they've got a banger rod meeting. We've also got Metal Mania coming next month.
Northern Bongers.
Yeah, Northern Bangers, I know, but Northern Bangers, have got, as much as we are seen as their counterparts and their rivals,
friendly rivals. Friendly rivals.
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to give them credit for this meeting, and hopefully that will be a good day. All drivers going, they look like they've got a good list in the making, and hopefully there's some good tin coming that we don't know about. And yeah, you've already mentioned earlier in the preview the A1 Open. That's coming on the 1st. That's this weekend. Should have mentioned that at the start, really, but that's coming this weekend with the Unlimited and the 2 litres. From that, I know that there's a few other things going on. This coming weekend, again, I forgot to mention the Lochgelly Big Vans Sean Walsh Memorial. And yeah, there's also, looking to the continent, we've got Waterton Wall Shaker on the 8th as well. And I believe the MMCs are kicking off the week after that. So it's all systems go. Before long, we'll be at a speed weekend and so on. And yeah, as I say, we'll be keeping an eye on all those, attending where we can, and hopefully giving the best coverage possible.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Dom, for that. Plenty of meetings to choose from. Please support your local tracks, your local drivers, and your local promoters as well. As we always say, I believe that concludes episode 46 of Caged Full Throttle. So I believe our guests need to say goodbye, and it is a very good night to Mr. James Keane.
Thank you very much, Jordan. It's great to be back. Thanks to all the guys listening. I've been mentioned, obviously, because I do the tech side, I've seen we've had lots of people dip in on Facebook and stuff. So thanks to everyone listening. We do this because we love it. So it's really good to see people listening and feeding back. So thanks to everyone else too.
And of course, a very good night to Dom Brock, and congratulations on your Speedworth TV presenting debut.
Yeah, that was good fun. And as I say, I'm going to be in and around next month. To say I'll be at the BBA Supreme, BWS, and I'm also got a trip up to Hednesford for that BWS round. Not sure where else I'll be, but hopefully you'll see me around the pits. If you're a driver listening, I might be running after you as I was at Eastbourne. And yeah, hopefully I'll build my brand as well, and you'll see a lot more of me out there.
That's great to hear. And obviously, lastly, who can forget? He's the man that created all this, Mr. Matt Josie.
Yes, good night, Jordan. Good night to everyone listening. It's been a pleasure to be back, and I'll be back again very soon.
Thank you very much, and thank you to everyone as well for listening, watching live, and just generally thank you for all the support you've been giving us recently. thanks to Stephanie for coming on. You can also check out Mad Jam Photography, which is her page covering a wide variety of motorsport, mainly at Stansted and Swaffham. So it's great to see coverage from them two tracks as well. I've been your host, Jordan Hollins. Stay safe, enjoy your racing over the coming weeks. Until next time, see you later.